Hey everyone, it is indeed the Catholic version of Easter today, but I had some thoughts I would like to share with you guys. Um, so enjoy your time with your family today, or next week if you're more of the Orthodox practitioners. You know, do remember that this is in its essence a satanic holiday based around Ishtar, the pagan goddess of fertility and sex, for which her babies, or the babies created during this time, were then sacrificed 9 months later to Osiris, or during Saturnalia, um, as a gift of worship, right? So, in their essence, very satanic. But, of course, you can change that by not focusing on that and by not practicing the paganistic rituals of eggs and fertility, and by simply being with your family, enjoying time with your family, enjoying time off from the mechanistic grinding of society that we're found in today. Yeah, it was a bit much, a bit dire, but that's likely the truth. So that's what we do on this channel. Now, in terms of what I want to share, I watched Anger Management last night. If you haven't seen that movie, it is quite interesting. With Adam Sandler, it's an older movie. It's meant to be a comedy, but there were some deeper truths that I was able to take away from the movie. It's Adam Sandler, and he's basically this nice guy. And what majority of nice guys have an issue with is that they're too nice, right? They're too much of pushovers, and they're actually deeply resentful, mainly at themselves, right? Towards others, but it's mainly at themselves. Because they think that being nice is how they're gonna get stuff, how they're gonna get their needs met, but rather they're just repressing and repressing their own emotions every time they become, walked all over, because they have no sense of boundaries, right? So, he's essentially gaslit and constantly insulted by others, because he attracts all these narcissists that just take advantage of him, or that just poke at him and poke at him and poke at him, and he just keeps dismissing and avoiding and repressing his emotions until finally they erupt at a certain point, and he's not conscious of this anger that he's repressing within himself. So he's basically dating this girl, and she arranges this whole thing for this therapist to come in and start gaslighting his whole life. Now, to me, it was a bit triggering because I've gone through these sort of scenarios myself, and what it really pointed out to me was the tactics that this therapist was using. Um, so he was putting him through a bunch of suffering, through a bunch of pain, right? Then gaslighting him, and then um, giving him some sort of reward. So that this concept of pain and then reward was coming up, and this is deeply narcissistic. Okay, this is a pattern that traumatized parents use on their children, right? They punish them, and then to compensate for them, they'll ask for forgiveness through some sort of material gain, that they'll give the child some toy or some ice cream or whatever to make them feel better. But also, right, they punish bad behavior, reward good behavior. Also very deeply narcissistic and deeply addictive, right? So if you can already tell where I'm going with this, it's the same to how this reality is structured. Right, it punishes us, especially the Bible, the Bible God, and we'll get to that in a sec. We're punished for bad behavior. Oh, you don't do what I tell you, don't follow my laws, you don't pay your taxes, you don't um, follow authority, politics, what we tell you. Oh, we're gonna punish you. We're gonna take away your pay or whatever. Oh, we're gonna arrest you, whatever. Oh, you're good. You go to school, you graduate. Yeah, we're gonna put you here in this middle class state. So it's not even good. It's more like less than good or not as bad. To be the top of the top, you essentially have to sell out. You sell out all your authenticity, sell your soul, your spirit, and sign on the dotted line to tuck your consciousness away, right? But going back to the system, it's pain, suffering, reward, pain, suffering, reward, right? So you're rewarded. And where do we get this notion from, right? I just mentioned the God of the Bible, right? The first one, oh, you must pray to me, you must worship me, you must sacrifice for me, whether it's not of yourself but of other beings, because I think that's what happened back in the day. Humans are so tired of sacrificing of themselves, sacrificing their own kid, their own aunt, uncle, sister, daughter, whatever. They started sacrificing animals, and the gods are like, oh, this is good too, this is pretty good, but we need more, right? So sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And this concept has been imprinted into us that we must sacrifice for others. We must be this nice guy, be this nice person, woman, and constantly give of ourselves, because then we'll get our needs met, then we'll be loved, right? And this is deeply traumatic. It's addictive, right? It's pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure. Oh yeah, it's rainy today, but don't worry, the sun will come out. But you have to bear through the storm. You have to go through the storm. And especially masculinity is highly attached to that, right? It's found within us this desire to go on this dark adventure and conquer the dragon, and then we'll get the princess, and then we'll be rewarded, right? And then we'll be enough. But it's another fracturing for us to be able to play out that story. And you may say, well, at the end of the movie, for those that saw the movie, he was healed. He was able to become conscious of his patterns. Yes, but it's kind of like the fool going through the wheel just so he can become the fool again, right? So the fool started out traumatized. We were given these characteristics to begin with. We were given these personas as part of our life lessons. And what happened is we went through the wheel like a hamster. We spun the wheel. We came back around. And all that really gained for us was the shedding of those traumas, yes, which is what we wanted in the first place. But we were given that trauma, right? Through our being born in that family, through our astrology and personality characteristics that we were given onto us. Those all help shape the fracturing of our psyche, of our spirit, of our soul, rather, the ego, to this personality that then had this innate desire and deep lack within themselves, that they sought to go spin the wheel, that they sought to go out in the world and gather something, do something, go through some suffering so that they can feel whole again, right? And even with working out, right, we beat up our bodies so that we can get stronger. But to what avail? Right? I mean, I do it. I enjoy working out. It feels good. It helps me stay grounded in this world, right? But to what point? What is the reason for that? We feel better, but why didn't we feel good to begin with, right? So this system is run by this El God, Saturn being. If we look at Saturn's astrology, it's all about hard work, discipline, the law, following the law, right? This is where we get the 10 commandments, the 10 laws, the 10 yaos, the 10 yaldabaoths. It's all about karma. It's all about money, right? In order to make money, you need to put in hard work. That's the program that they give us. Yeah, we see so many people that they're not working hard. They hit one little thing, boof, they got millions of dollars. Where's that? That's their karma, right? That's the demons giving them material possession because, I don't know, they agreed to sell their soul away or something, or they agreed to become a puppet for these beings. And I'm not saying that every rich person, right, is in that mentality necessarily. There are plenty of people that did work hard for the money, and my objective is to have enough so that I can potentially retire, be at peace, and not have to worry about the system. I can act independently of the system by having what I need to have the freedom that I want to do whatever I want, right? But essentially you can do all that already, right? You can buy a van and go travel and have no money to your name, no material to your name. But the system, right, pushes you into that duality of pain, suffering, into compensation, reward. Oh, look at you. And there was another movie with Adam Sandler that I will have to watch, where he goes through all these trials, and then at the end he's like driving away into the sunset in like this Saturn car, right? If you guys remember the old cars named Saturn. And again, it was very analogous to the situation and occultly minded, occult minded. So that's the main point of this video, really, that he was being gaslit this whole time, but he was, like I said, gaslighting himself. He was not respecting himself. So that's, if you can take one lesson out of this video lesson, it's that you, although they seek to traumatize you, they seek to characterize you, to box you in, once you realize that you are still the projection of the mirror reality, you are still the one causing that projection, you can take power back, you can take your own sovereignty back and say, okay, I understand that I've been projecting this trauma, right? Because that's our biggest gauge. If we see someone else's reaction in the mirror reality, you must think, what in me has caused this reaction? Okay, they're gaslighting me. How have I been gaslighting myself? They're criticizing me. How have I been critical of myself and then therefore others? You can only be as, loving towards others as you are towards yourself. You can only respect others as much as you respect yourself. So being nice or being the dickhead or whatever, the a-hole that, you think that's the solution to getting what you need, no, it's being authentic. It's being who you are. Now, you have to also be aware of the trauma and programming that you have on top of that true authenticity, because you can say, oh, that's just how I am. I'm being myself. But yeah, is that your true self, or is that the ego projection? Is that the filter that has been put? Right? So once you realize there are certain things happening in reality that you would like to stop, then it stops from the projection, right? Removing the filters, understanding what characteristics have been given to you in that regard. Again, I help people do this with my numerology readings. I try not to practice them as much because I'm aware of the energy infiltrations and combinations that can happen as a result of me reading someone's chart. But I do enjoy helping people become aware of their limitations in terms of their personality. So in order to be fully healed, you have to go beyond the personality, right? Me more naturally being, let's say, an introvert or loner, I have to go beyond that to actually find connection, because that's secretly what I actually want, connection. And how am I supposed to get connection if I'm prone to those characteristics, right? If I shut myself off from the world and become hyper independent, right? So taking those subconscious parts, those characteristics, those archonic implants, and becoming aware of them, bringing them to light, then all of a sudden you integrate that shadow, right? You stop gaslighting yourself, so that others will then stop gaslighting you. And even if you still notice that someone is being is ridiculing you or is gaslighting you or toxic towards you, you all of a sudden then don't have that trigger to be toxic back, because you can understand, okay, this person is toxic to themselves all day and they're just trying to feel better right now. That does not mean I have to engage with them. I'm not going to feed the fire. But what I can do is actually block them. So I'm turning away from the scenario and I'm not accepting it. I'm not feeding it anymore. Therefore, these other entities then will die off. These thought forms, egregores, AI, intelligence, whatever it is, because then that I'm refusing to hook into that. So then they can't be an energetic match to that anymore. If that makes sense. All right. Well, watch the movie Anger Management, even though I spoiled it for you guys, to get a better idea of what I said, of what I'm saying in this video. But that's what I was able to take away from that. And, I hope that was able to help you guys in your own perspectives of how you're living your own lives. Because I know I share a lot of what I deem to be truths of my own perspective on this channel. But, you know, it's the first step may be identifying the problem, but we must also look for solutions, right, to those problems. Otherwise, we're just critical. So hope you guys enjoyed, and leave a like, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Enjoy the rest of your time with your families today, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.